Mortal Kombat, like any long-running fighting franchise, suffers from a chronic case of character bloat. With so many fan favorites comes the need for an ever-expanding roster. I mean, just look at Super Smash Ultimate. Though it's a problem that in many ways can be seen as a good thing. I mean, at least Mortal Kombat has enjoyed enough success to keep welcoming new characters alongside the old across more than 2 decades of releases. Eventually though, tough decisions will have to be made. NetherRealm simply can't be expected to cram every single Mortal Kombat mainstay into the roster. Some don't deserve the screen time anyway, but Mortal Kombat 10, which is the second best in the entire series because big up the 2011 soft reboot, still left out several contenders that should have never been stuck on the bench. Strong fan favorites like Noob Saibot, Smoke, and Kabal, characters strongly represented in past titles, were nowhere to be seen, nor were the likes of Rain or Baraka, despite both cropping up as AI-controlled opponents in the story campaign. Striking that perfect balance between old and new is a really tough task, but Mortal Kombat 10 tilted too much towards the latter. If MK11's trailer is anything to go by, it seems the old school is coming back in a big way. So with that in mind, I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and this is Mortal Kombat 11, 10 neglected characters that must return. However, before we get going, I kinda want to pose a question to the Mortal Kombat fanbase. As an honorable mention, what do you guys think of Reptile's design over the years? The Mortal Kombat 11 trailer showed an old school 90s Scorpion walking back into view, and it made me wonder, are we gonna see the return of all the old school variant ninjas from across the board? Personally, I always loved Reptile just being the name of another ninja, rather than what he actually was. Scorpion wasn't a scorpion, for example, but I put that to the comments as we get going. Ninja Reptile or real Reptile? Sound off, and on with the list. Number 10, Fujin. Since his playable debut in Mortal Kombat 4, Fujin's only appeared a measly 2 more times. As one of Raiden's best friends and a crucial defender of Earthrealm's life force from villainous entities like Shinnok, you'd think the wind-wielding deity would get more screen time, but alas, his last handful of appearances have been nothing but cameos. With that said though, the new timeline has led to Raiden becoming corrupted at the end of Mortal Kombat 10, creating speculation that Fujin could replace his thunderous friend as Earthrealm's full-time protector. Fujin has earned the promotion once before, and if nothing else, him being thrust back to the series' forefront would allow NetherRealm to give the character some much-needed fleshing out. Number 9, Onaga. Okay, look, I'm kinda gonna level with you. I love Onaga, the Dragon King of Outworld. Even the base sentence description of the guy is 80s heavy metal down to the core, and, well, that same mentality is why a lot of us love Mortal Kombat in the first place. Interestingly though, until NetherRealm fell close to solvency and had to be rescued by Warner Brothers, leading to the 2011 soft reboot of Mortal Kombat's story overall, Onaga appeared in various character and game cutscenes as the franchise's real big bad, above even Shao Kahn. His army was said to be undefeatable eons ago, and though he had once been destroyed, his return was both a mystery and a humongous deal to both the heroes and the villains of the franchise. Last seen flying off with Shao Kahn in the opening cutscene of MK9, Onaga could then be seen teaming up with Kahn, Shang Tsung, and Quan Chi, as the crew seemed to be plotting something. As I'll get to later, Shang Tsung and Quan Chi were nowhere to be found in MKX, but as we've never had the frickin' Dragon King himself done justice, his full role is more than overdue. Number 8, Nightwolf. Alongside Iron Galaxy's excellent modernization of Killer Instinct's Thunder, Nightwolf has, since his inception, graduated from one-dimensional character defined only by race to being an integral part of Mortal Kombat's hammy but overall fun, overarching narrative. Unfortunately for Nightwolf though, his pivotal role in the series' titular tournaments led to his soul being repurposed for Quan Chi's schemes. And like all others in such a predicament, his presence in Mortal Kombat 10 amounted to little more than lip service. Had NetherRealm allowed us to face off against Raiden's close friend as part of the story like Baraka or Rain, maybe his unplayable appearance could have let slide, but as it is, no chance. Safely restoring Nightwolf's free will and giving us the honor of filling his shoes once more just has to happen. I mean, who doesn't want to lodge magical tomahawks and spirit arrows into their opponent's rib cages? Number 7, Shang Tsung. The tenuous but mutually beneficial partnership between Quan Chi and Shang Tsung was nowhere to be seen in Mortal Kombat 10. How could that be? The timeline reset of Mortal Kombat 9 dictated that Tsung was dearly departed by the events of its successor, but as we're all aware, death means diddly squat in the Mortal Kombat universe. Shao Kahn's devoted right-hand man and sorcerer extraordinaire could easily make a comeback in Mortal Kombat 11 if NetherRealm willed it, and so they should. Using an opponent's own tools against them through shape-shifting shenanigans is a beloved archetype, not just in Mortal Kombat, but in fighting games as a whole. This mechanic was sorely missed in Mortal Kombat 10, and it's about time it came back. Number 6, Baraka. Demoted to non-playable status in Mortal Kombat 10, the short-lived bouts Earthrealm's warriors had with Baraka during their detour to Outworld led to speculation that the unhinged Tarkatan would join the fray as DLC. His model was in the game after all, and we knew this because we'd been speared through the face by it. Those hopes were dashed when NetherRealm's post-launch announcements came and went without any mention of Baraka, though he lived on through a particular guest character. That character was Alien's Tarkatan variation, splicing a portion of Baraka's combat preferences with the Xenomorph's own, as a nod to the character, but come on, it was a far cry from the full version. For me, Baraka's massive evil smile is almost as iconic as the dragon-headed Mortal Kombat logo itself. The demand is surely there, but like Shang Tsung in-game, he's supposed to be dead. Given the circumstances of his death though, it's tough to imagine that stays canon for very long. Number 5, Shiva. Sadly, Shiva wasn't fortunate enough to even get a look in during Mortal Kombat 10. The sole female Shokan was rejected in favor of bigging up Goro's glorious comeback, as he hadn't been playable since 2006's Mortal Kombat Armageddon. NetherRealm seemed reluctant to feature more than one four-armed fighter on the same roster in any game, and that's maybe down to their similar movesets. Differences do exist though, and Mortal Kombat 10's multiple choice system proved NetherRealm has the chops to distinguish one superficially similar character from another. If that is carrying into Mortal Kombat 10 alongside whichever fancy customization suite we're getting alongside, it should differentiate the two way more than ever before. Plus, making a Mortal Kombat on fancy 4K hardware and not including Shiva's skin-stripping fatality makes baby Liu Kang cry. Number 4, Kabal. Having gone back and forth from fighting the good fight to serving nefarious evil-doing clans more times than anyone can count, Kabal is one of the series' more interesting and convoluted characters. And yet, despite that, NetherRealm only gave the hook sword-wielding maniac a fleeting cameo in MK10. It's an unfair dismissal given that among Mortal Kombat's extensive cast, Kabal's playstyle is one of the most unique. Raging Flash will forever be one of the most iconic gap closers in fighting game history, and relegating him to one of Quan Chi's mindless puppets did both him and his fans a big disservice. At Mortal Kombat 10's climax, Kabal remained enthralled by dark magic, but there's no reason he can't be returned to his former self with a little help from Raiden, just like Jax was. Number 3, Rain. Like Reptile and Ermac before him, Rain entered the Mortal Kombat universe first as an Easter egg and later as a bona fide playable character. Essentially the last of the palette-swap ninja archetypes before NetherRealm diversified Mortal Kombat's cast way more visually, the native Edenian has since been made playable only 3 times since his inception, the most recent of which being DLC for Mortal Kombat 9. This weather-manipulating legend popped up to supply fanservice commitments in Mortal Kombat 10's campaign, but Rain's short number of roster appearances overall is puzzling to say the least. Disappointed modders subsequently brute-forced him into a playable state by using his story mode moveset, but Rain's in-game state remained far from desirable. On the bright side, fan efforts to keep Rain relevant are something NetherRealm must be keenly aware of. Solving the character's apparent death is now the only barrier between him and a spot on the main roster. Number 2, Smoke. Dangled just out of reach like a carrot on a stick over the course of Mortal Kombat 10's campaign, every time Smoke's masked visage materialized on screen, hope turned ever more to frustration as NetherRealm declined to free him from Quan Chi's magic. Instead, Smoke remained non-playable, a fate not befitting someone who's arguably just as well known as Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Reptile when it comes to Mortal Kombat's poster children. The reason for his absence became self-explanatory with the arrival of composite character Triborg, but that came at the expense of the character itself, as a diluted move pool had to make room for Sector and Cyrax's signature attacks too. Keep all 3 of these guys separate next time, please NetherRealm, please. Number 1, Noob Saibot. After being punted into Quan Chi's Soulnado by Nightwolf during the events of Mortal Kombat 9, that was the last time we saw the former Sub-Zero on screen. Being consumed by a vortex formed from the souls of the tortured undead is bound to have some gnarly side effects though, and it would be suitably badass to use that as justification for NetherRealm to give Noob Saibot a soft Spectre-based rework. Splicing Ermac's soul manipulation with Noob's shadow clone capabilities, we can only dream. Assuming Mortal Kombat 11 doesn't pull a Smash Ultimate and cram every Mortal Kombat character in existence into its roster, there's a very real chance more composite characters like Triborg could be introduced. If done well, it saves roster space and could be a way to decapitate 2 birds with 1 spear. This is all of course wild speculation at this stage, but it's all food for thought. Whatever happens with and to Noob Saibot if he returns in MK11, just don't expect him to be the same as before. And that's my list. Let me know down in the comments below which bygone favorites deserve a new lease of life in MK11, and if you want us to do more Mortal Kombat videos overall. Personally, it's one of my favorite franchises, and in the run-up to MK11, there's a ton to pick apart and speculate on. Either way, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com. Please check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere else you can think of. And if you're feeling super generous, Jules' t-shirts are available at shop.whatculture.com. Thank you guys all very much, and I'll catch you next time.
Fatality.